Just before we start, breaking news. An airplane has dropped its cargo containing large crates of Vanish near Heathrow Airport. Staines has completely disappeared.
Fucking hell.
I went into a library and asked if anyone had any books about coincidences, and the librarian said, as a matter of fact, one's just arrived.
No.
I met Carol at a Scrabble tournament 20
Put it down!
I met Carol at a Scrabble tournament 20 years ago. Next week, we're going to renew our vows. I don't know, when I was coming back, I went past a shop. I bought myself a camouflage jacket that I bought, and I thought, I got to take it back. I just can't see myself wearing it.
Who hurt you? Hey? Who hurt you? Tell me. Who hurt you?
Oh,
what did they do to you?
The more you respond, the more I do it. Anyway, I saw a sign in the train saying, please give this seat to an elderly person. So I unscrewed it and took it round my granddad's house. Anyway, hello everyone, and welcome to the Black Dog. Episode 109. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
And I appear to be in Groundhog Day.
And I appear to be in Groundhog Day. And I appear to be in Ground. Anyway, yes, hello everyone, and welcome. And this week we'll be doing our usual thing. We will be seeing how everyone's week's been. And then we will be moving on to this week's third, but possibly seventh, depending on how you're counting, Prime Minister. Film from the Indeterminate Weeks of Horror.
Man, I'll tell you, yeah.
I tell you, our horror seasons lasted more than two prime ministers. That's
pretty
saying
good.
Something. That's pretty good. Yeah, so that's pretty good.
Well, our prime ministers had more regenerations than the entire run of Doctor Who, I think, so far, isn't he?
Yeah. And he's come back with a familiar face that you thought had gone years ago.
Exactly.
Hey, there you go. But anyway, yes. So we'll see how everyone's week's been. And then we'll be moving on to this week's movie, which was ably delivered from Jim's Dr. Phibe's mansion last week, as we heard, straight from him polishing his organ. You know, yeah. Hold on. Oh, my mouse. There you go. Thanks, Sid. And Jim, what did you pick?
The Block Island Sound.
The Block Island Sound.
Not to be confused with Rock Island Ferry.
There you go. Or Chock-a-Block, which was
No.
Anyway,
Chock-a-Block chocking off.
Chock-a-Block. When they didn't really know how to make theme tunes. Anyway, so we'll be getting to that soon enough. It's on Netflix, by the way, if anyone's listening and they haven't seen it, because it was a film that I had not heard of, but we'll get to that. And yes, let's start actually with this week's How Was Your Week? And we'll start with you, Jim. You were away last week. How was your fortnight, sir?
Being sort of quite nice, actually, to get away.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to stay in a little village which is just between Robin Hood's Bay and Whitby.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually near enough to Whitby. There's a cinder path where you could walk to either place, and if you did, you could actually see the Whitby Abbey across the moors. Quite so very scenic. It was a lovely kind of old farm cottage with oak beams and quite compact and beautiful. Very, very, very cozy though. Real fire.
Nice.
Oh, beautiful. So yeah, that was really, really nice. And then we had to come back, which wasn't so nice.
No. Back to the cold reality.
Well, it was cold, wet reality. Literally, we set off Thursday morning, and as I was putting the suitcase in the car, the heavens opened. I don't think it stopped raining until Friday night.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it was just like.
Crikey.
But hey, we had the time we were away. It was the weather's been good, so can't complain. But it was a bit of a shock to the system. Kind of, it's not. I think it's got light for the last 2 days, hasn't it? So yeah, that's been. And then this week I've just been mentally busy because it's Halloween week, and obviously I have much to do in this busy period.
Indeed,
So,
indeed.
So that's really about it.
Okay. Well, fair enough. That's short, sweet, and to the point. And let's be honest. You know, nice little breakaway. You know, what are you going to say? I had a break. It was very nice. I didn't have to worry about shit. Okay. Well, then let's move on to you, then, Elton. How was your week, sir?
Some good and mostly bad.
Oh.
The good was got to record a new episode of Shonky Lab, which was actually did we record it? I forget.
Yes,
we did record it. Yes. About politics, which was kind of live debating as things were happening. No, they happened that day, which was very disappointing. I was hoping to get the live episode of them actually changing the guard, really. But that was fun. But watching the goings on, can someone just tell me what a chairman and minister without a portfolio is?
It's usually someone who gets kicked out of art class.
Right. I've just been watching stuff today. As we know, I don't want to get too political on your ass or anything like that. I just don't know what a minister without a portfolio is. Because apparently there's someone there with that, and I just don't understand it.
Everyone's Googling it now. You can hear
please.
A minister without portfolio is either a government minister with no specific responsibilities or a minister who does not head a particular ministry.
Yeah.
So why is he there?
Well, it's because they're often ministers. They're things like they've got a place in the cabinet because like they're the Speaker of the House or the chairman of the whatever party's in power,
right,
or something like that. They say they're not a minister for such and such.
Right.
Yeah, they're
but
not
but they still attend cabinet meetings, and they are a minister.
Yeah, they're not Ministry of Defence or someone from the Foreign Office. They're just a minister who's a trusted minister around the cabinet office.
There, and he can fill in. He's a substitute. He or she is a substitute.
Yeah, basically. I mean, because we've got like deputy prime minister and their minister of that portfolio.
Yeah, it's often a cabinet position and sometimes used to enable people such as chairman of the Conservative Party or the chairman of the Labour Party to attend cabinet meetings. So basically, it's just to sort of get in the door.
Yeah.
Because it's like, where are you from?
There's a spare seat, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
okay,
yeah.
Cool. Well,
We've all learned something today.
Talking about that, continuing on with my week, just going on with like the rain and still getting a bit of a leak in one of the rooms, which is fucking me off. I'm driving me bonkers. I don't think it's coming from the roof. I think it's more coming from the guttering on the side and the leaking in that way, which is pissing me the fuck off. Also, talking about cabinet ministers and stuff like that, me and Amanda just spent an hour trying to get a tick off my dog's anus.
Well,
yikes!
Going for all the family. Beautiful.
And how did you remove it?
No, it's still fucking embedded. It's about an inch away from.
Ow.
Is it swollen? The tick, not the anus.
Well, it's the first time I've ever seen one.
The only reason I say that is because they can cause all sorts of real problems.
Yeah, I know. So we're going to the vets tomorrow.
And also be careful because wherever the dog got the tick, obviously there are other ticks in the area, which means if you get them or a human gets them, they can just as easily get things like Lyme's disease.
Ay caramba! Oh,
so
God.
maybe just give wherever that was or wherever you think he picked it up, maybe give that a bit of a wide berth.
Yeah.
I've also read people who've been like bitten by ticks who've lost their ability to eat meat and stuff like that. I'm not sure what the condition's called, but they can no longer
Vegetarianism?
No, but this is like a forced thing. They can't eat meat anymore. They just can't handle it. They lose the ability to eat it.
That's not a bad side effect at the moment.
No, not really.
No, not at all. Corn's fine, but you know.
Good luck, Martin, finding pictures of that.
Yeah, I'm going to say, anyone want to take a bet on what he's Googling right now? Dog's anus? What are we, where are we going?
That'll get you put on the list, that will.
Yep, yeah. Exactly. Anyway, sorry, carry on, mate.
No, that is it. That's the highlight. That's as much fun as we get this time round.
Okay. Well, yes. Well, like I say, you're going to the.
I think we'll be going to the vet tomorrow because we've done our best and we're not getting anywhere, and that needs to be sorted. They can't just fucking leave that, can you? So we'll be hopefully getting that sorted out, and I will report back in 2 weeks' time.
Okay, yes, because we're not here next week, because I'm not here next week. Unless, of course, Dal, do you want to take the lead chair, mate, and record everything and upload it?
Nah, you're all right.
All right, well, in which case, we'll be back in a fortnight once we're...
Yeah, but just remember, this is all taking place in your imagination, because when you're away, we don't exist.
Well, that would explain a lot. That would explain an awful lot.
Just the voices.
Just the voices in my head.
They told me to do it.
Okay, well, in which case, I'm wondering why no one's brought up the fact that it's only me talking to me and there's no other voices on this microphone. It's just me. Maybe nobody's listening. Maybe I'm making up all the numbers and stats and everything.
Maybe you are.
Oh, God. Maybe I'm not even sitting in front of this computer.
No.
Oh. Well, anyway.
This is Lee Metcalf, a man who thinks he's on a podcast. Little did he know, he's transmitting out into the Twilight Zone.
Well, in which case, voice number 3. How was your week?
Right, I'm just going to adjust my microphone because the bloody stand keeps dropping my mic.
I fucking knew it. I called you. I said it.
Hold on. I told you it would droop, right? And I'll tell you what, the microphone stand's been giving me jip as well. But there you go. Lovely jubbly. Right, okay, now let's get out my memory paper. All the stuff that I stuffed to write down.
Isn't it just called paper?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Or do you need a piece of paper to remember that?
I think I need a bit of paper to remember that as well.
Oh,
where's
God.
my paper?
Perception.
Yeah. Where did I write down all my stuff on a piece of paper?
I don't know. I forgot.
There you go.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So, my week about the most exciting thing I did, actually physical work this week, was cleaning the oven. I've never cleaned an oven before, ever.
This is the kind of content that everyone
isn't
comes,
it just
comes
this is what
to
they
the
pay for
podcast. Well, yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you what, there are people out there listening to this going, "Fuck me, I wish they had a Patreon because I would fucking Patreon the shit out of them
for this.
I really would for this.
Yeah, definitely. I would. You know? I mean, why not? Why would I?
Never cleaned an oven.
I've never cleaned an oven before, ever.
It's because he's as lazy as sin. Haven't you worked that out by now?
No, you see, because I've heard lots of horror stories about people like idiots fucking doing this when they've like just had dinner and they're cleaning the oven. They fucking set their hair alight, So it's like I'm going to make sure the oven's stone cold. That's it.
Yeah. Usually the next day's fine.
Yeah.
You're not telling me every time you've cooked and made a mess on the oven, you just moved house and got a new one.
That's what it sounds like.
No, I just bought a new oven. That's it.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
Oven's getting dirty. Should we put the house up for sale? Yeah, I think we should.
It gets to the stage where I can't there's no room for the dinner anymore. That's how much shit there is in the walls of the oven.
Yes.
But
Really, the oven's full. We are leaving.
Yeah. Exactly, yes. Is there no possible way into that place there? No, not at all. It's all filled up.
Darren, why is there a sign saying for sale outside the house?
Because the
Well-
oven, the oven looks like the wall at the end of fucking Shawshank Redemption. It's got a big fucking hole in it and a Rita
Not
Hayworth
anymore.
poster over it.
Not anymore. It's beautifully clean now. It's spotless. But
Okay.
I must admit, I had a bit of a worrying minute there. I thought I don't know what I'd cleaned, but I could hear a crackling sound all of a sudden from inside the oven. Well, I
Right.
thought it was a crackling sound. Actually, it wasn't. It was just the bubbles from the liquid bubbling on the inside and echoing around the actual oven.
You're gonna tell me next that you've dissolved up most of your clothing while sort of cleaning because it's still got acid and everything in there.
Well, I am sitting here naked. So there you go.
Oh God.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Put it back on.
You see, you missed an opportunity there.
What's
Right, okay. You should have played the sad trombone. Wah, 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 wah. Or Steptoe and Son. Or
Oh,
something
God.
like that, you know?
If I had a proper soundboard, I'd probably do that. But the problem is, I don't. It's all on this clean feed page. It's just like.
Well, you know, Lee, I mean, that it would be, you could probably get one of those if we had a Patreon. I'm just saying. You know?
I'm not. I'll be honest with you. I'm not doing that again. As much as I'd like to.
GoFundMe? No?
No.
Cloth cap on the street while playing the skiffle board?
Yeah.
No?
Wanking for coins on the corner of in the Grove Park station. No.
Yep. We have no shame.
No. Anyway.
So that turned out all right. I didn't actually lose any hair doing that. So and I've not poisoned us either. So there you go.
That you
That's
know
good.
of.
That I know of. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it builds up over
Next
time.
week, you're buying an air fryer.
Indeed. Yes.
Yeah.
Or the way I'll use it, it'll be a hair fryer. So
Nice. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Yep. Bart your hair to a fortune. Pip your hair's on fire. Ow,
Yeah.
ow, ow, ow. Oh, joke. Yes. So went to the cinema as well this week.
Oh, yeah.
Went to the cinema. Yep. Went off to watch Black Adam.
Never mind.
Hey, hold on a minute. No, wait a
on.
minute. No, this was actually quite enjoyable.
Mhm.
It was not the worst DC movie I've seen ever.
Let's be honest. That's a low bar to clear.
It is a very low bar to clear, but I will also say that if anybody out there believes The Rock when he says, "Oh, it's you've not seen a superhero film like this before," he missed. I think they actually cut that audio badly. It should be, "Oh, you've never seen a DC film like this before." It's actually enjoyable. That's the full quote. That's what it should be. But yeah, it wasn't a bad movie at all. There was lots of good action in it. I've always thought The Rock would play a pretty decent Black Adam, and he does. He suits the role down to the ground. Yeah, so anybody think of going and see it? I don't think you'll be disappointed. Although I've seen some bad reports, people who have not got on with it, but we had a lot of laughs. Watching it. I just wish people just wouldn't. I wish companies wouldn't accidentally leak things, and I do accidentally in finger air quotes. When they leak certain things like post-credit sequences.
Well, they leaked, the post-credit sequence, I know the one you're talking about, but the reason they leaked that was because some shit biscuit had taken filmed it in the preview screening. And so there was some dodgy ass footage with like a barely seen, out of focus, blurry shit.
Yeah.
And the voice. So it was like, well, that's giving it away. So why? And it went viral. So basically, they took control of the situation and said, well, if you want to fucking ruin it, here you go.
Yeah.
But frankly, I've seen enough fuckwits at Black Adam screenings filming themselves and then putting it on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's just DC fans, it appears to be. I know I'm tarring everyone with the same brush, but it does seem to be that they want really, really, really want everyone to know that DC isn't shit and they are grown-ups because they like films that have horrible punching and death.
Yeah,
with
but
superheroes in it.
even the horrible punching and death is actually quite a laugh. I mean,
Yeah, but
I didn't get tired of him throwing people when you see him throwing them far away, and just you hear ah. That always got a good laugh.
That's fine. I mean, that's all cool. I mean, I'm talking about the fact that it's like something happens and they've got someone in the stalls filming them in the circle as something happens, and then they stand up and go, "Woo, fuck yeah, fucking great, yeah, wow, my mind's blown."
God, no, there is no mind being blown watching this film. Trust me on this. It's pretty standard fare, and this is the sort of thing that the worst DC movie should. This is the sort of like, this is how. It's a bit like Iron Man 2. It's not the world's best movie, but I mean, come on, it's still not an absolutely terrible movie, and that's the worst that Marvel could do at the time. Black Adam's kind of like that. It is not a terrible movie by any means at all. But this is the lowest bar that DC should be. That's the lowest bar they should be attaining with this, and they should be going from strength to strength. But
vaguely entertaining is a kind of damning endorsement, isn't it?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't say vaguely entertaining at all. No, it was an entertaining film. That's it, right? It's just, it's not going to have Marvel kind of, although I don't know, depends on what sort of output they're doing at the moment. But
it's all right. It's all being cancelled. Don't worry, you won't see any more.
Oh,
of
course it is. Yeah, very true. Very true. So yes, there was that. And going on to something else that's had certain major bits sort of spoiled the shit out of, we come to Doctor Who. So yes, I watched the season finale. Jodie Whittaker's big sort of see you later. I didn't like it when I first saw it. Watched it again just to try to give it a bit of a chance. I still don't think it's the second coming that some people are proclaiming it to be. It's definitely not that at all. And to have a certain aspect of it spoiled, it's like, I think the BBC actually spoilt this themselves. Why?
It's been spoiled up the wazoo.
It has.
It's been spoiled up the wazoo for ages.
Why do we need this? Well, I mean, can we go back to the days when this sort of thing, these sort of programs were niche things and they didn't get much publicity and people didn't spoil the shit out of them because not many people gave a shit about them anyway. Can we go back to that? Because I miss those days. I miss those days of tuning into things like Babylon 5 and actually being genuinely surprised by something on television. Oh, fuck me, I didn't see that coming. Because, we didn't really have the internet and shit back then.
Yeah. I mean,
the internet is just a great spoiler of things. I mean,
yeah, I was going to say, come on. I mean, go on, Jim. Sorry, you carry on.
I mean, I know there's the argument, well, you can avoid it, but it is sometimes just a bit of a minefield. There's sometimes places, major outlets that should know better, blab.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. And sometimes it is I've caught spoilers when I've been trying to dodge spoilers. And I mean, if you spend all time on Facebook or the what ticks or whatever the young people do, Fortnite, I don't know.
Oh boy! Wow! And at last, finally, Jim joins the old fuck we're old crowd on the corner of the podcast.
Welcome, Jim, to the clan.
The what ticks? Holy God, sakes! Right.
Yeah, them with their tickety tocks, the hippity hop.
Yeah, their biggity bums and whatever the fuck.
Their imageograms. That's right. Them things.
But you know what I mean. So people are sat on that all day. You will catch spoilers. There's no avoiding it. But it's depending who you follow. If you follow a lot of blabbermouth cunts, I don't, and I don't have too much trouble on my feeds, thank you very much. But I am rapidly becoming an old Luddite.
No, I totally agree. I often
mean?
get rid of sites when, even if it's a program I don't actually watch and they put a major spoiler out for it, they automatically get fucking well blocked from my browser and God knows what else anyway. Because it's like, well, that could have been something I actually liked. And they just gave that away like, it was nothing. So, I've blocked quite a few sites in the last few years just because they've, it's like spoilers are nothing to them.
Well, the thing is, I've stopped going to movie sites and TV sites completely.
Yeah.
Because it's just pointless.
Yeah.
I actually enjoy things a lot more because I've not had people starting fights and arguing and writing clickbait articles about things like 2 years before they've even come out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? But pointless flame wars over a show or a film nobody has seen.
Yes. Yeah.
Not to mention stupid fan bank speculations.
Oh, what you mean? Things like the remake of The Little Mermaid from people who are never going to see The Little Mermaid, even if the main character was white in it. They're never going to go and watch that fucking film anyway. What's the fucking point of arguing about it? Why have you got a problem with this? Fuck it.
Just get on with it. You know what I mean? You're not, no one's paying you to have an opinion about this stuff. You don't get any more of anything for being angrier about something.
Really? Shit.
You know what I mean?
You've just dismantled this entire podcast, Jim. What the fuck?
Oh, we gather here to do that deliberately, and people come here of their own free will to listen to this nonsense. Whereas, you know what I mean? It's kind of why everyone thinks that, they can just rah, 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 into the void, like unsolicited, opinions and shock jocking as it's rapidly becoming.
God, yeah.
You know what I mean? Of kind of various either edgelord bullshit or more virtuous than I must abolish everything because it's not ideologically pure. And it's just fuck off.
Yeah.
Just fuck off. This is why I don't do social media very much because it's empty vessels making the most noise.
Yeah.
I post nice pictures of things and tunes and occasionally tell you I've done something.
That's it.
Or a picture of my dog or some flowers. That's it. That's what you get from me. And I think that's better.
Yeah, I have to say I've kind of reverted to that. I stopped being. I mean, I keep seeing all my old memories on Facebook, and I keep looking at it, just thinking I was very, very angry a lot of the time between 2010 and 2016, and yeah, and I just don't have the time or the energy for it now. I mean. The spicy hot take on Doctor Who. I mean, I'm kind of interested in what people thought about it, but the sort of like this is a travesty to this is the greatest thing ever existed. Both of those opinions are to me utterly pointless because it's like you in both cases you're coming from a perspective and an agenda I just simply don't share because I don't share anything being the best thing ever. And when I do, such as my love for certain films, I acknowledge immediately that is me being me, rather than that's the opinion that everyone must hold, and I shall henceforth declare it to be so. Which seems to be
the
king. Exactly. I mean,
yeah, I'm totally with you on that one. That's it's a lesson you have to learn, really, isn't it?
The hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, actually, before you go on, Dal, I mean, what did you think, Jim, about the episode? Because I know you tend to steer away from saying things about it, but I just...
Well, I have rules. Don't talk religion, politics, Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, Marvel, DC, any of all that fan wank crap, actually.
So
I'm going back to the days where I used to watch things. I didn't know what anyone else thought about it.
I hold my counsel, and I shall say no more. Actually, that's
no,
probably...
I thought it wasn't the best thing ever, but there was lots of sort of fun things in it, which were nice to see, and things like that I hadn't been spoiled on, which was nice. And, you know, by the end, I had a big grin on my face. I mean, it's not high art. It's not the best Doctor Who ever. But it was very fun for a Sunday night. And it gave me a smile on a day I really needed a smile. And that's good enough for me.
Mm-hmm. There you go. See?
Yeah.
We can do it. We've achieved it. We've achieved geek nirvana, guys. You noticed this? We've had a conversation about Doctor Who. We've managed to get in and out. And none of us have declared it the worst thing it ever existed, nor the best thing that ever existed. I'm proud of us all.
On the back,
yeah,
all round.
We've managed the middle ground of compromise and understanding. Jeez, I'm proud of us all. I think we can give this podcast up. I think we've done it.
I know we're all getting older. You know, we're dealing with like. Ticks on bums and shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, having civilized conversations like this where no one has smacked anyone around the head with a pint glass or anything like that, it's beautiful, isn't it?
It's beautiful. It is geek nirvana. I think we've achieved it. I mean, maybe we need to rebrand. Maybe we don't go for the depressing black dog now. What we do is we go for geek nirvana, where we all just sit there and all just go kumbaya and say, hey, did you like that? No, that's fine. That's your opinion.
Oh, I like it.
Geek Nirvana. Did you like the last 3 Star Wars movies? You did? Well, that's lovely. Did you? No, I didn't. Oh, well, then that's fine. It'll be a 5-minute podcast every week, and we just bring up something that's highly controversial. Did you like Zack Snyder's Justice League? No, I thought it was a blight upon humanity, and I thought it was the death of cinema.
You've said too much.
That's okay. No, that's okay. That's your opinion. I personally thought it was great, and I love the grimdark thing, and I couldn't wait to see Batman's parents die again in slow motion. Fantastic. Let's see you next week. Watch, rinse, repeat for every single franchise in existence. I think there's something there. I think we can do something.
I think you're right, mate. I think you're right.
Geek Nirvana. Geek Zen. the Zen of Geek. All right. Anyway, sorry, carry on, Dal.
Yeah,
How was your week?
The last thing that I did watched it yesterday, was the last episode of House of the Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Which...
Does Bruce Lee finally appear?
He does, yes.
Nice.
On the back of a dragon, yeah.
Does he get attacked by a one-armed guy with multiple attachments?
Well, that's another film entirely.
In fact, does he enter the dragon? Sorry, carry on, mate.
I'll just grab the horns. No. I think Elton has watched this as well, haven't you, Seth?
I have.
Indeed. Wow. It is just a shame we have to wait at least 2 years before season 2 comes out.
Well, you say that. You said 2024, yes?
It's expected in 2024.
Right, so we're at the end of 22. So it's only 23 that they got to film and do all the dragon crap, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So start of 24?
But it's the whole thing of, no, I want to be there when you make the show, and I want to take every episode you finish and watch it there and then. I don't have to wait until you start releasing them week by week, because that's got to be it. No, I need to have the content.
But Darren,
yep.
You do know that you have to wait for the computers to generate the dragons, because they used
this
to...
is not good enough. This is not good. Change science, quantum computing, or whatever bollocks they've got now. Use that.
They tried at one point having the animators draw in real time, but it was a strain on their arms. You know that.
Flick books. Okay, flick books.
I like flick books, and I cannot lie. Hang on.
Exactly, right? All you got to do is have a blue screen behind the actors, right? Okay, and you impose a shot of somebody with a flick book, and you can make it bigger, so the dragons look bigger.
Oh, so blue screen. Who's 1980s now? Jeez.
Yeah, I am. So there. See, it's an old technology, but it's very effective. So,
fucking hell, I think you've solved the visual effects industry's problems now.
Fucking right, I have. I'll tell you that now. Just doodling a fucking pad and then thumb, and that's it. There's your thing. Okay,
let your imagination do the rest.
Yep, I've got your rendering time right here. There we go. Look at that.
Yeah, a single second full of post-it notes flickering past the screen on a dodgy blue screen.
Meanwhile, Darren's up in his bedroom with a pigeon and a rabid squirrel trying to breed them together.
Indeed. No, I'm just going to stick wings on the bearded dragon we got here. And then I'm going to make a cardboard castle. Oh, no, it's a dragon. Oh.
You're going back to the old Doug. You're going back to the Doug McClure era of.
I am.
Of dinosaurs.
Yeah, well, they used to staple fins and stuff onto dragons, onto lizards that didn't have them. Yeah, iguanas. That's right.
It's a T-Rex that's decided to walk on all fours and look like an iguana with a frill on its head.
Yep. What do you mean it hasn't got enough bits sticking off of it? All right, get the nail gun. Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Don't worry. As long as we shoot it from the front, it'll look alive.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, fishing wire. That's what you want on it. Fishing wire.
Just drag it along.
Play it like a puppet. There we go.
It's
got to go. Got to go.
Oh, yeah,
I don't want to go back in the cave. I don't want to go back in the cave. Get back in the cave. I like to go back in the cave.
I like the fact that Elton's trying to bring it back on track.
I'm trying. I'm giving up now. Fuck it.
No, but
fuck all this Nirvana shit.
All right, let's. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, and yeah. It's sort of like that one. Ooh, he done fucked up now moment. In it. So yeah, big things are coming, I'm sure.
Yeah, I haven't actually watched any of House of the Dragon because much like Game of Thrones before it gets spoilt so often before I even so much as even think about putting the bloody disc in the drive or clicking on the fucking link. So I just haven't.
To avoid all spoilers so far. It's been amazing. I don't know how I've done it.
So I just now there's an internet reviewer, film reviewer called Jeremy Johns, who I quite like, and he does a little roundup of the episode every week on a Monday.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I've just been following the story through him. I just thought, you know what, fuck it. If it's going to get spoiled for me, I'll just follow it. And so I think I've got a pretty good grasp on the story. And all I did was I've wasted 25 minutes of my life over the course of the last 6 weeks. It's pretty good. Mm-hmm. So that's it. You've done your Game of Thrones 2.0.
Yep. Exactly. Enjoyed the series. It's it's a good one.
Okay. Cool. Anything else, sir?
No, just that, be warned that next time we do the cast, I might seem quite subdued and quite sort of like, down in the dumps.
Why is that?
Mainly because I'm about to embark on season 5 of Handmaid's Tale. So there you go.
Nice.
That's a warning for you.
He's a challenging wank, but
Oh no! No!
And that's the end of the Geek Nirvana podcast, everybody.
Exactly.
Just throw some petrol in it, set fire to it, walk off.
I could just imagine the documentary of the history of this podcast, and it's like at that point Morgan Freeman kind of just sparks up, and that was when the podcast imploded in flames. Metcalf had to go into hiding. Like a Twinkie. Like a
Twinkie. Cool. Well, anyway, so that's your
That's it.
That's you, man.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't go out anymore. Okay. That's it.
Well, okay then. Well, then on to my week. Mine is mainly stuff I've watched and stuff I've done. You all right there, Dal? All right, okay. Oh, he's walked off. He's gone. He's gone.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I've got a lead on the headphones long enough so I can reach the fridge now.
Fucking hell.
I'm fed up with dying of thirst until we go, it's break time.
All right, okay, fair enough.
So there we go.
This is surely a new segment.
Yeah.
What's in Darren's fridge?
What's Darren getting from the fridge today?
What is in Darren's fridge?
Or how far will Darren get to the fridge before we call him back? Because we know what he's doing.
Darren's cold corner. Bum, 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 bum.
What's he got in the fridge today? What's he got in the fridge? It's in a packet of bourbons. Oh,
it's in a jar of jam. What's he got in the fridge today? Sausages! Thank you. Let's move on. What's he got in the fridge today? Darren, a bottle of orange juice. Leftover takeaway.
Sambuca and a hand grenade.
The head of my last victim. Thanks, Jeffrey.
Yep. Oh, there we go. Netflix.
Netflix, yeah, off we go.
Hairflix.
Yeah, Netflix. I've got a jar of peanut butter. I've had my turns.
Right, okay, so somebody be able to get working on a theme tune.
Yeah, Darren, what's in Darren's fridge today?
What's in Darren's fridge today? It could be like, that thing they used to have on the Far Show. Jesse, today I've been mostly eating Brussels.
I have corn on the cob. Half eaten. Anyway,
I have half a jam sandwich.
There you go. Well, it's kind of a nice amalgam of Darren's Craft Corner and Inscryption Sandwich all in one.
Darren's Craft Dairy Lee Corner.
Oh no! Oh no!
Sponsorship possibilities.
I think so.
Or a lawsuit.
Your
choice.
Well, I was going to say lawsuit is probably more likely, to be honest, Jim.
Craft cheese spread, Craft cheese triangles. That's it. Yes.
I don't.
Darren's Fridge Corner, sponsored by Craft Cheese Triangles.
I don't think they'd sponsor us after listening to this podcast for more than 5 minutes. It's very interesting whenever someone replies to us, because one of my tweets has gone round the houses. And then you suddenly see there's a big spike in watching and listening to the old episodes, and then suddenly we go back to normal levels. That's all I'm saying. Everyone kind of jumps in and goes, "Oh, I wonder what they're like." And, oh, okay. Anyway, back to my week. We'll get onto Darren's fridge corner soon enough. Actually, Darren's Craft Corner.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
I say, Darren's Craft Dairy Lee Corner. Yeah.
Got it. I understand now. Well, I'll start my week. He says, desperately noticing the time and how long we've spent talking about fridges. I was going to say, I've got to start with some unfinished business or some parish notices from last week. First off, I forgot to tell everyone that just on the off chance that you want to listen to it through your smart speaker of, shall we say, river descent from Mr. Bezos, we've been accepted into the feeds of Amazon podcasts.
Ooh.
So you can now find Black Dog on Amazon Podcasts or on Music Unlimited or Amazon Music, depending on how you. So you can actually ask for us, I believe, through your Amazon branded smart speaker. He says, keeping an eye on the one that's sitting just to the side of me so it doesn't start talking. And ask for us.
So we got a new tagline for the podcast then.
What's that?
The Black Dog Podcast, coming in your ears quicker than a one-day delivery.
Yeah, Black Dog Podcast, well past its prime. You're welcome.
Yeah, okay, that wins.
Thank you. So there's that. The second thing I wanted to bring up was also that over the last few weeks, I've been pretty down on the Star Wars TV show Andor, and I finally
Nandor,
Nandor,
devil in Lightless.
Fucking Guillermo, that guy, that fucking guy.
I'm a wizard. Sorry.
Just to let everyone know, I had an epiphany on episode 7. I actually, I know. The fact you had to get to episode 7 for it to happen is kind of a bit sad, but it finally, everything clicked into place. And I've got to say, I take back the whole nothing's happening and it's just him wandering around doing nothing. And things are taking far too long to get going, because finally, episode 7 happened, which is after the action-packed episode 6. But episode 7 happened and a lot more politicking started to happen. And then all of a sudden there was a kind of a line that kind of made me go, I see. I get it now. And so I just like to say I was down on it before. I'm not now. Would I recommend anyone watch it? Not necessarily, but I would definitely say that I have changed my mind on it. So there you go. That's all I'm going to say. I won't get into the Star Wars blah blah blah.
No,
I've done blah blah Star Wars for way too long. My life is not long enough to continue blahing about fucking Star Wars.
Do you know what? It does remind me of that joke we keep bringing out with like TV series. Oh, you stopped watching at episode 6. Oh, you should have stayed to episode 7, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when it got good.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Well, I'm doing that to everyone else now. Ha ha ha. Revenge. Revenge is best served cold after 12 years of this podcast, and finally turning around and going, ha 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 ha, I can do it to you. So there's that. Other stuff. I finished watching the first season of Rings of Power, because I gave up on it after like 4 episodes or 5 episodes, but we had nothing going on and it was absolutely lashing it down with rain on Sunday, so we kind of binged through the remaining ones. And all I can say is, you thought Lost with its shitty mystery boxes was bad. You thought, oh, this is a secret and this is a surprise, but clearly it's been signposted since episode 1 was bad. It's worse. I literally sat there predicting every mortal thing for 3 episodes, and considering each episode is now, roughly speaking, about 65 to 70 minutes long, it was just like, ugh. But the TV show acts like it's really pleased with itself, like it's surprised you.
Oh,
and it's like,
okay.
No, I know exactly what's going on here. I can't say anything without major league spoilers, but on the other hand, if you watched it, you'd figure it out. It would be like watching a science fiction show that they keep saying, oh, who is this old man? He lives in the desert and he's got a glowy sword.
Is it Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Oh, no, we can't tell you. He's not going to say his name. He's not going to
okay.
say his name, and we're not going to mention his name. We're just going to follow him around, doing nothing in particular, until someone turns up and goes, right at the end of the entire season, goes, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and everyone's supposed to go, but meanwhile, you've watched Star Wars iconography and someone clearly who is Obi-Wan Kenobi dressed in Jedi robes wandering around Tatooine for 7 episodes. And it's just like, yeah, I know it's Obi-Wan. And it's like, no, we don't know who he is. Don't jump to conclusions. And then it's like, next episode, oh, who is this mysterious? It's Obi-Wan. No, it could be someone else. And it does that over and over and over again with all of the lore of Lord of the Rings. And even if you've got even so much as the remotest sniff of a pass of knowledge of even just the faintest nudge of a photograph of anything from the Peter Jackson movies in your head, you will literally know exactly the reveals that they're going to give you and exactly what they are but each one happens at the end of an episode. Like, aha, you didn't see that coming. It's like, only if I wasn't watching it up until this point, I wouldn't have known it was coming. It's just I mean, literally one character appears in episode 1. Yeah. They spend 7 episodes going, who is this mysterious stranger? And then they basically have someone turn up and go, it's a name. And you go, no, that's bollocks. It's clearly not, because they're dressed like X, Y, and Z. And sure enough, it is bollocks. And this person's been misidentified due to a clerical error. It's just like, what? That's not a twist. That's just someone talking bollocks. And you've been right all along. And you go, yes, I know who it was. I know what it was. I know that thing. And the films, the TV shows sort of ending with a kind of, but you didn't see that coming. You're like, oh, fuck
Well, actually,
off.
I did.
Yeah, actually, I did. I saw it in episode 1.
What?
Say what? So yeah, overall, Rings of Power feels like we've taken nearly 8 to 10 hours to finally get to a point where the story can start.
I've not felt any motivation at all to watch that show.
Yeah,
None whatsoever.
No.
Reason was like, should we watch it? At some point, I'm like, yeah, we'll watch it.
One show I will recommend though, which I did watch on Disney Plus, is called The Old Man.
Oh right, okay.
With which should apply to us, to be honest. But it's starring Jeff Bridges and John Lithgow, and it's really good. It's kind of nothing you haven't seen before in other what I would call Jerry action movies, or TV shows. Like films like Nobody, or
I'm still waiting to see that.
Have you not seen it?
No, I'll tell you, when it comes through on streaming, we are having that on the docket, I think.
Oh, it's so good. That's so fun, so much fun. But it sort of wrong foots you in the first episode for about 20 minutes, and then finally it just goes, no, we're here. This is the kind of film we're dealing with, a kind of show we're dealing with. And the main character, Jeff Bridges, he's got these 2 Rottweiler dogs, and they are the best acting dogs I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, right.
They are really, they're like 2 independent characters of their own, and they're like super expressive. And you keep cutting back to them. Wherever he goes, they follow him. And one's got a derpy look in his face, and the other one's got this kind of very serious, kind of quizzical look on his face. And they are absolutely brilliantly trained and very well shot. It's very cool. Yeah, I can't really say too much, because to even reveal what the plot is about is a spoiler in and of itself. But you let's just say the show opens with Jeff Bridges going around town, hasn't spoken to his daughter for a while. She only communicates to him via an answer phone, and he's got sort of like he's worried that he's got a sort of like the onset of dementia, which his wife suffered from. And then one day he has a house break in, and that's all I'm going to tell you. That's literally it. The rest of it, you just have to find out for yourself. But for a good old chunky movie, show, it's really good. It's really worth a look, and there's only 7 episodes of it, and I had more fun in 1 episode of that than I did in 7 episodes of Lord of the Rings. So. Worth a look.
Okay.
Let's cut this short. So the only other 2 things. First thing, I've been playing a game called Inscryption, which is spooky game, a spooky card game that you play in a cabin with a nut job who will kill you if you get it wrong. And it's done in a sort of 8-bit style, and it's frankly very disturbing, because the only fruity nut job that you see, you only see his eyes staring out of the dark and his hand, and you have to play cards against him. The card game is very engrossing, but occasionally you go, "You cheating bastard," as his hands reach out and grab you across the table and he stabs you in the face. But yeah, for an indie game, it's well worth a look if you're into those kind of deck building kind of games. You know, sort of, it's got this kind of idea that you lay a card and it's got a health counter on it and it's got an attack counter on it and it's got a kind of a second counter on it that says like how many things you have to sacrifice off of your deck before you can lay the card down. So it becomes a strategic thing of, I lay one card down, and if I kill that card, I'll get a token which will allow me to lay a stronger card. But it'll take and he can do the same. And essentially, it's like Top Trumps, but with more blood, death, dying animals, and stabbing your eyeballs out. And as you play the game, he pulls his own gold teeth out to sort of count scores. So if you hit him once with one card, he puts one tooth in the scales that go his way, and if he hits you, he takes one of your teeth out and sticks it in the scale going the other way.
What's this on then?
It's on PlayStation, Steam, Xbox, pretty much everything.
Okay. It's
like I say, it looks very old school. And it looks very 8-bit, but it's got a kind of atmosphere to it. It's the kind of thing I think if you did horror games again, Jim, you might want to have a look at. It's not like a sort of Silent Hill or anything like that, but it does have a kind of storytelling narrative to it and a sort of puzzle element to it as well, because you can actually leave the table and the game at any time and walk around this cabin that you're trapped in. And there's other things in the cabin that you can investigate and look at and stuff. It's weird. It's a weird game. But if you like weird independent games and you don't mind card games, it's worth a look. And last thing, just a small thing, just finish it off. And in case anyone's eating their lunch or breakfast while listening to this podcast, I finished watching Old Man last night. I sort of got up and I thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch Block Island Sound, but I'll do that in bed. And I thought, right, okay, cool. I'm going to turn all the lights off, lock all the doors, get my phone, get my headphones, go upstairs. And I went into the kitchen to lock the back door. And as I did that, I walked through in the dark, and it turned out that there was shall we say, let's just say it, there was a 3-inch long slug that I stepped on between my toes, didn't realise what it was, and by the time I saw it, it went squish, and it went squish between all of my toes, and I spent all of pretty much the first 20 minutes leading up to watching this film sitting in the shower like someone from Crying Game going as I tried to pick bits of intestinal bits of a slug from between my toes. You're welcome.
Yeah, cheers for that.
It was horrible and cold, and the thing that I can't get out of my mind, and I have to share, is there was this kind of moment of resistance before the pop. That's all I'm going to say. It was just sitting there, and I just felt a little sort of squish, and its body put up a valiant attempt to stop the weight of my entire body coming down on top of it. And it just went between my toes. Bit like when you run jelly between your teeth. Enjoy. Anyway, and on that note, I think we'll leave it there. And interestingly, slugs and things going down the sink and whatnot. Let's take a break, roll a jingle, and let's do the review, which is Block Island Sound. Roll the jingle. Oh, the nudie ladies are back.
It is a nudie lady.
They are.
Ladies of nudie. Yeah.
They are dancing in the flames. They move suspiciously like the same person photographed 4 times. Oh, hello. The Block Island Sound is a 2020 American science fiction horror thriller film written and directed by Now sit down for this.
Lonnie Donegan. No, hang on. It's Rock Island Line.
Val Doonigan singing something in the harbour. No, yeah, Ralph McTell about this. No, that's something else. Anyway, no, it's written by Kevin McManus, Matthew McManus, and stars Michaela McManus.
Reviewed by Elton McManus.
yeah. There's a theme here, and the film tells the story of a fisherman who wakes up alone and bewildered on his fishing vessel and returns back to the Block Island to find that he's blacking out and his family's worried about him, and there are lots of dead fish and animals all around, and nobody knows why. And what is that slightly ominous sound that person can hear? I say no more than that. But nevertheless, it is a thriller, scary thing. I would normally do the box office and what it took. Unfortunately, being one of those films that just immediately got purchased by Netflix, it's vanished. All its details have vanished.
Oh.
They've been expunged from the internet, so Netflix can't be seen to be losing any money or gaining any money. Just, we're just using bucks.
Oh, I had one all prepared.
Okay, then. Well, how much do you think it made then, Elton?
Potato, dumpling, porcupine.
Nice. Nice. I almost forgot what that was. Hold on. I think I might have a problem. Jim, how much do you think it made?
2,000 dead birds.
Okay, yes, that's fair. That's fair. And Darren?
I think it made one dog and one girl.
See, I should have done that Man in the Mirror jingle again. I'm starting with the Man in the Mirror. Right.
Water.
Water.
Yeah, it's,
sugar.
It's Edgar in an Edgar suit. It's Alien in an Edgar suit from Men in Black.
What was
Water.
that from?
Men in Black.
That
Yeah.
was many. Okay, yes. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Sugar, water, more,
Water.
more.
And sugar. Yeah. You're not feeling very well. Your skin's looking a little loose. How's this? Anyway.
Oh, what a terrible movie.
It's a great movie, Men in
Oh,
Black.
I hate that movie.
Oh, you're such
go
such
on.
an ingrate.
Oh, no.
I hate you sometimes. I hate you to death down the internet. Oh, sorry, no, we've lost Geek Nirvana. Oh no, you've ruined it, Elton. You've broken my zen. Anyway, let's go round the table. Block Island Sound. Yes, it's a science fiction horror thriller, and we've done all that bit. We have no idea how much it ended up making. So let's go around the table, find out how everyone thought. Now, am I right in thinking nobody has seen this before?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't.
Okie dokie. In which case, we'll go round. Elton go first, but Jim, you'll go last because it was your pick, sir.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie. So, Elton, what did you think of Block Island Sound?
I enjoyed this movie, but I feel it didn't reach its full potential. I think there was a lot left on the table that it could have looked at, dived into, maybe stretched out a little bit, but it was good. And I'll be honest, I watched it twice. I preferred it the second time. But I'm left wanting more.
Cool.
In more of a intense way.
Okay, fair enough. Darren, what about you?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good film. I thought it was very tense. You know, the ominous sort of feeling building up as the film went along. Yeah, it was good. Although it did bring to mind an internet meme. And I can't tell you which one until we get onto the spoiler section.
Okay.
Right.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's cool. Right. For me, I have to say I really enjoyed it. Was I scared by it? Probably not. I was a little bit disturbed by it, but I enjoyed being creeped out by it as opposed to being scared by it. I like the atmosphere. I like the acting. And I thought generally the way it maintained its ideas was quite good. I do get what you're saying about, though, Elton, with the... there was more meat on that bone to explore, I guess. There's more things you could have done with it. But I quite liked the fact it was quite restrained and just did its own thing. I thought that was really cool. So for me, it was a thumbs up. I mean, it could have been a lot better, but to be quite honest, as a slow burn, disturbing thriller, I thought it was really good. So there, Jim, what about you?
Well, yes, I mean, I kept seeing this turning up on various lists on the internet, and I thought, well, we'll try a blind buy on this one. Not really a scary film, sadly. I like to get a roast potato shocker in there if I can, but I kind of quite like this because it kind of I felt it very like a very close cousin to movies like is it Midnight Special and The Endless, of those kind of sort of very tense, creepy. But I thought it was just beautifully made, really good performances, really good use of the location, and it was just kind of what's really just intriguing. And I thought the end was just well played. Well played, that last scene. That was clever. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably too slow for many people's taste and not enough happening, but for a bit more of a sort of a thinky movie, if you like The Endless and stuff like that, this is one to go on the same shelf, I think.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't suppose you guys have seen it, but I think I brought it up a while back. There was a film I watched over lockdown called Sea Fever, which was another small film with Dougray Scott in it.
Yeah, I remember you saying about this one.
about a trawler off the coast of Ireland being marooned at sea with some really strange shit going on around it.
Yeah.
And it had that kind of vibe. It felt very, very, very similar to this, except Sea Fever was a little bit more overt as to what exactly they were dealing with. Anyway, right, you're going. Sorry, Elton, you were going to say something.
If we're like comparing and contrasting to other movies, it reminded me of Vast of Night that we covered a little while ago.
Yes,
nice.
Yeah. No, I'd put it in this. Yeah. You could have a little season of these sort of movies. So I'm picking my words to avoid the spoilerishness of it, but there's Vast of Night is another one that you could make a good double bill.
Definitely, I think Vast of Night, Sea Fever, this, and what was the other one we did a while back? There was another one like this, which was kind of like lots of don't show what's going on, but there's something going. Yeah, it was The Endless, wasn't it? Yeah, until the last 5 minutes. Yeah, no, this would definitely slow burn Disturbia, I would call it. Cool. Okay. Well, overall, I think generally a positive vibe. I think we'll agree. So okie dokie. So. Let's just say from here on in, anyone listening, as ever, we're running into the spoiler zone now. We're going to start discussing the film proper, or at least trying to in our own way. And yes, if you go any further, spoilers here be, and henceforth and all that, ipso facto, upsy daisy, flipsy flopsy, obbly jobbly. If you do want to watch the film, go on to Netflix. It is going to be, I feel, permanently on there because there are no details as to its money, its cost, or its production or anything. So that tells me that Netflix have bought it in perpetuity. So it's definitely on there forever. So go check it out. I would recommend it. But anyway, right. So we're going ahead. Spoilers. Right. So. First off, I suppose is I'm just gonna come out with it. I'm gonna say, what do you think it was?
What do we think it was? Well, yeah.
Because there was a number of clues and a number of weird things going on. But the one thing I was never entirely sure about, and this isn't saying it's a bad thing, was whether or not it was in the sea or above them in space. And I know they dropped out of the sky and all that sort of thing, but I couldn't tell if there was something in the ocean as well.
There was something in the ocean.
Yeah.
Because when he went scuba diving, he suddenly turns around and there's black smoke or a black cloud in the water with him.
Which is why I was saying what I was going to say. Because it was like, is there one in the sea and one in the sky? Is it all one thing? I mean, I know it's supposed to be pretty much unknowable, but
could very well be, two totally separate entities.
I think that's where it got a bit blurred for me, because they purposely did that thing in the sea to make you think, oh, there's something down below, isn't there? But I'm sure there was an anchor from that boat down to the seabed because he went scuba diving. And it could well have been just the anchor lifting out of the floor and creating a lot of dust. A lot of dirt and a lot of debris floating around in the water, because there was a lot of things just going up towards the sky, wasn't there?
Yeah, it's very nope in many ways. Everything just getting hoovered up.
But then again, you're lifting up an anchor which is below the seabed, but you're not actually lifting the boat up.
Exactly, which is where my confusion started to come. But then I know it can just be hand-waved with weird shit and you're not supposed to know why.
Yeah.
I mean, what was your take on it, Jim?
I thought at first it was something in the sea, but I go for something in the sky now.
Yeah, okay. And Darren, I guess you were saying it's two entities, yeah?
Could be, yeah. It's definitely one in the sky. Anyway, without a shadow of a doubt, that's where it was. And if my internet meme take on this,
go on then. Yeah, go on. What was that then?
Well, it's the picture man with very crazy looking hair in a business suit, holding hands up either side of his face, going, "Aliens."
Yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we're all agreed it's aliens, right?
I think so, yes. But you also had his friend, was it Paul? The guy with the hoodie on all the time. And he was obsessed with either aliens or sea monsters. He was talking about sea monsters earlier on, about infecting a boat and they all jumped off so they could be eaten. So I think it is very... there's ambiguity there. Purposely to keep you guessing through the film, and once it's all over, to make you think, is it safe anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, how did we feel about the ambiguity? I mean, was that because sometimes with stuff like this, I mean, I personally love movies where the creature or the entity or the race or whatever it is kind of ambiguous as to its intent and purpose. Yes. And you don't know what it is and what it's doing or why, because that adds to the otherworldliness of it, hence alien space jockey as opposed to Prometheus roid rage albino mimes. So how did you guys feel about that?
I have to agree with you on that one. I like it when it's subtle. And by the way, can I just say, right, is there any more of an Innsmouth-looking fucker than the granddad? Right? Jesus H. Christ. It's like, this, if I didn't think this was fucking H.P. Lovecraft enough, right, you had him who looks like a fucking fish person from Innsmouth, right? That's what I thought at first. It's like, I mean, this is just going on like... sort of like Lovecraft-style games, like things like The Sinking City that I've played, and the fact that though the fish people are actually, just accepted residents of that place. And he just reminds me he reminded me of that. I thought, yes, you could actually populate the town with a few more of them, and this could be Lovecraft. You know, I mean, it deals with madness and everything like that as well. So, you know,
well, I mean, we will get to the Lovecraftian nature of it, because we do, of course, have a Lovecraftian expert on the crew.
Indeed.
And you know, I think it only fair that we don't bother speculating about what we think is Lovecraftian when we could just go, Jim. Anyway, sorry. So what about you, Jim? What did you think of the ambiguity of the whole thing?
Well, I liked it. I mean, I think, actually, to answer the Lovecraftian bit, I mean, there's a lot of bad takes on Lovecraft out there these days, and they ignore kind of the key idea in Lovecraft is that his evil entities, they appear like demons to us. To more scientifically minded people, we might call them aliens, but we're not really sure they are so beyond us and so different to us. We don't even have a proper conception of what they are.
Yeah.
And it's not the fact they mean us harm or even care.
Yes.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's kind of, we are so, insignificant. You know, it just, you don't get to some sort of value judgment like that, or an emotional sort of thing. And that's kind of like this thing is. Is it from outer space? Is it from another dimension? Is it a spirit, a demon, an alien? Is it something that is actually all of those things, depending on what cultural context you're trying to make sense of it in? That's truly Lovecraftian, and it's that cosmic indifference.
Yeah.
That's the key to the Lovecraft horror, is that, you know, we're tiny, the universe is large, and there's things out there who don't mean us harm. They just don't. We're just not important enough to care about.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like, you know, like we are with all kind of like tiny creatures that live in our houses and on us and in our gardens. We're not even aware they're there. And one brush of our hand, we wipe out millions of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think where it is interesting is where sometimes they do pay us some attention. But is it scientific inquiry? Is it a bored child?
Yeah.
You don't know. You know what I mean? You can't know. And it's kind of like the thing in the Endless. This entity is similar. It's noticed these weird little things. He's mucking about with them. There might be a grand plan. There might be a noble cause. There might not be, though. It might just be pointless, just like a child squishing those little red spider mites on his parents' rockery.
Yeah, or a kid taking a magnifying glass to an ant nest.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Just kind of, that's truly Lovecraftian, I think. You know what I mean? It's not just things with tentacles.
Yeah, that's a bit reductive, isn't it? It's a bit like what people say about steampunk. You know, just put some gears on it and call it steampunk.
Yes,
it's just that's not quite it, is it? But yeah, okay, cool. And what about you then, Elton? I mean, what about the ambiguity for you? Was it frustrating? Was it cool? Was it?
I like it. I think I'm really growing into that sort of thing of not quite seeing it. That makes it more enjoyable. I.e., we had a shot of it in The Vast of Night, which we've spoken about before, where something's happening over yonder, but it's all blurry, and you never see it in focus. Yeah. I really appreciate that. Maybe the problem with this is there is nothing. I like that we don't see anything, but it's also a bit frustrated that we don't get a hint of something. Maybe it's because they didn't have an idea of what it would be, and so we don't show it, and so that's it. It's up to us to decide what we see. But sometimes, just a hint, just something in the background, just something, A shadow. We didn't even get a shadow or anything like that. All we get is noises through the electronics, which can be a bit... There was a question of, is it just the electronics that are doing this? This is their only conduit to, what's his name, Harry? Is that the only way? Because there was a moment in the funeral where there were no electronics around, and yet he was seeing his old man.
Yeah, I think that's him just connecting the dots, isn't it? He's looking at pardon whistle there, but he's just putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 6. You know, the radio, the clock radio, and the radio on the boat go bzz, 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 which means they're near. That doesn't mean to say that's got anything to do with the visions. The visions don't necessarily coincide with the electricity.
I thought it was that. I thought that was how they were communicating as well. Because the other guy moved away from it and moved away from all electricity, because that's how they were communicating to him.
Which fair enough, but then again is. I mean, you know, Darren, Jim, you know, step in if you feel like you've got a thought on this one. But for me, it's a false equivalence. It's that whole thing of every time this happens, something electrical buzzes.
Yeah, that was made quite clear.
And something electrical, which is a communications device, buzzes.
Oh,
you know,
didn't notice that.
Well, it was.
It's all radios, isn't it?
Radios.
Phones.
And you can look at that and go, okay, so that's what's causing it. But then again, he sees it in the car and he doesn't have the radio on. And, you know, he sees it in various other places. It's just all, you know, it's kind of like you're seeing the signs that they're there through the radio. But what you're not seeing, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the visions are happening because of the radio. And that's what that's what I think. I think that's why the bloke who said no, go away. I can't have electricity things. You might as well put a bullet on my back and all that kind of a bolt on my back. I think he just basically he left the eye and it didn't follow him.
I see. So
he's
it's happening whether there's a radio around or not, but because there is a radio around, you get the effects through the radio.
Yeah, you get the become aware that it's about to happen because they're there. And you know, and then like I say, it's false equivalence. The guy moves away, and it stops. And he's got, by which time he's done what? Is it Jake? Is that the main character, Jake?
I thought it was Harry.
Oh, Harry, sorry. Yeah, Harry. Yeah, Harry's done exactly the same thing. You know, he hears his TV and his radio go bzz, 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 throws it all out. You know, but instead of running away, he stays. And still gets done. So, again, it's that same thing, isn't it? It's that, you know, the guy probably did exactly the same thing, threw all the electricity stuff out, and then ran away. And then thought, well, they never tracked me, so therefore that's what it is.
Yep. Okay, that's cool. But the actual ambiguity, I don't know, I'm flip-flopping between it. I really appreciate it not being there, but something about it, I just wanted a hint of something. Maybe that's just me cheating. I don't know.
No. Well, I mean, okay then. I mean, let's take it another way. I mean, if you guys, all three of you, if you were to see what it was, what would you have wanted to see?
Yeah.
Anything I can think of, I think would ruin it.
Well, exactly. But I'm just curious whether you think it would be a spaceship or a gigantic creature or what. You know. That's what. I think you're right, Jim. I think it would ruin it if you saw it. But
I think you'd have to have something like really abstract, like sort of like geometric sort of shapes or globes that you're not sure whether the lights or objects, just swirling in the sky but also in the water, so you've still got the ambiguity.
Yeah.
But it's also something you can't make sense of. Is it a creature? Is it a ship? That would work. But once I think you see, oh, look, it's a saucer, or, oh, look, it's a squid from outer space, your brain goes, oh, I can deal with that then.
Yeah.
It's just that.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was the film The Void or not, but there was one where it shows you just like a big white empty expanse, and there's like a big floaty, great big black triangle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is The Void. Yes.
Yeah. And it's just like, well, what the fuck is that? And then it kind of does something like it goes, and it's like, hold on, is it talking to me, or is that some kind of mechanical thing going on? What is that? And that I think you get away with, as you say, a sort of geometric shape, or a cloud of mirrors, or whatever, something.
Or Arrival.
Oh yeah, Arrival. Yeah, it's just like an egg floating in space, and you think, what the fuck is that?
Well, wasn't it to begin with? It was a room full of mist with limbs that come out and hit the glass. You never really fully see.
Oh, the hydropods, the heptapods. Sorry, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it could be anything, couldn't it? And that's the thing. I mean, what would you have thought they were, Dow? If you were going to say what would you have seen? If you had looked up, what would you have seen?
I don't know. I really don't. It's like, I mean, fine, you could go through the standard spaceship, it's like flying saucer or whatever. But apart from that, I can't even think what it would be. I wouldn't want to think it's just a bog standard flying saucer, because that would demean the rest of the film. I think it's because that's quite a cheap little, unimaginative sort of suggestion, I think.
And what would you have wanted to see then, Elton? If you wanted to hint at something, go on.
I don't. That's the thing. I don't know. Massive fucking teapot. I don't know.
Is it going to be a chocolate teapot? That's the thing. Chocolate teapot from space. Or maybe the spaghetti monster. There we go.
Well, I mean,
but then you're getting into the tentacles, which is going to the lowest common denominator of the Lovecraftian thoughts, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, because I was thinking about this last night, about what would I have seen up there, and the only thing I can think of, I can't remember where it was, what film or what TV show it was, and it might, to my eternal horror, might be something like fucking Picard or something awful like that. But there was a sort of like just a complete void in space, like in the air, completely. It's like if you looked up and it was and there was stars, because it's a clear night. And then there'd just be a shape that is blotting out the stars, but it's so inky black you cannot see it. You don't know what it is. It's not like Nope, where it's kind of, you can get glints of something. And then what you get is, in the black, you get sort of the occasional glint of something writhing. Now, you don't necessarily need to be a tentacle. I'm talking about, it could be a mechanical arm moving, it could be something, anything, but you just need to see a glint of some movement on that black surface.
Like the intestines in Annihilation.
Yep, could be. I mean, but I don't think I wouldn't want it to be so overt. I mean, literally, it would just be like
edges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glints of something in that inky space. And it wouldn't, and because it's black on black, you wouldn't know what shape it was, only that the stars that were in the way aren't there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that, to me, would be enough. That there was something up there. You didn't know whether it was a organic thing or a not organic thing. I mean, to do the geeky thing, Dow.
Yeah.
How they described, not necessarily how they portray them, but how they described the Shadows ships. That they're so black, it's so black that your eyes just fall into it.
No, it's so black your eyes slide off of it.
Slide off it, that's it.
Yeah.
And something could be it could just be a space of nothing.
Mm.
And like I say, whether or not it had tentacles or not, you wouldn't see it. It's just because it's just utterly, utterly black.
How much more black could this be?
Exactly.
And the answer is none.
None
more black.
None more black. None more black. See, what's the point of this bread? You can't fold it. You can't fold this. You just can't fold this bread. It's fucking useless. Anyway, back to the before I suddenly go down the Spinal Tap route. What I was going to say was, I know we know what it actually ended up happening, but one of the things I thought was kind of interesting, but it did the hereditary thing, and of kind of going from suggested to suddenly explicit, which was the dad losing his marbles, to put it indelicately. When he's sort of standing there and giving it all the and all that kind of business, right at the start, when he's looking out of the window and Michelle comes in and she sees him just like filling a kettle and not moving and all this kind of thing. Was there ever a point where you suddenly thought to yourself, it's just him going mad? And would you have liked that to be a bit more front and centre in terms of like, oh, is he really being possessed by some alien thingy, what's it, from beyond space and time? And have that a bit more up front and make it even more ambiguous.
So have him going through episodes as well as being kind of mentally abducted.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just talking about like, because when we were talking about Candyman last week, one of the things we brought up was that the Virginia Madsen character in the original wasn't explicitly seeing the Candyman in the murders. She was literally blacking out and then waking up with corpses around her. And it was like, okay, is she going mad or is it the Candyman? And is the Candyman real? And whereas in the remake, it's just like, no, there he is. He's standing right in the mirror and he's copying all your movements and he's killing people. And I was just wondering, because I went back to that when I was watching the grandfather sort of standing there with that kettle in his hand. Do you know what? It's kind of that kind of thing, that loss of self, that someone's losing their mind, losing their memories, succumbing to some mental illness that's robbing them of their personality. That's quite a disturbing thing on its own. And I felt that they maybe could have lent a little heavier on that and give you a bit more ambiguity of, no, he's not being taken over by something. He is actually losing his mind. I just wondered if anyone else had that thought, or anyone thought that might have been better to do. I mean, I'm not criticising the film for not doing it. I'm just saying that when we started this review, it was like kind of there's a bit more meat on the bones to this that could have been sort of explored, and I was just wondering whether or not, because we haven't done Hereditary, but Hereditary does a similar thing of kind of like, is this in her mind? Is it not? And the Candyman does the same thing. The original goes, is it in her mind? Isn't it? And then all of a sudden goes, haha, actually it's real.
It would add definitely another layer to it, wouldn't it? Because you have that, is he? Oh, he is. But also, this is happening as well. These abductions of the mind are happening as well. And then you have the question of what's actually happening to him at this instant. Is he having an episode? Or is it an abduction? And you have that blind taste test of what's actually going on with him. And it keeps you guessing as well. Then, I'm interested in that as well. Weirdly, second time round, I was wondering what he was actually seeing when he was doing these visions. The way that, what's his name, was seeing his old man. Harry was seeing his old man. And he was going through his episodes. I'm wondering if he was seeing his wife. Because they'd just recently lost the mother, haven't they?
Yes. Yeah.
So maybe you could have had that, but you never see it from his perspective, do you? He just snaps out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to do that whole thing of reviewing a movie for what it's not. But it was an interesting thing for me to suddenly sort of go, well, you know, could they have explored the ambiguity of whether or not he's actually possessed, or he's just having sort of like, you know, his mind is degrading.
I don't think the way they played it though is kind of at first you're sort of thinking his dad's got dementia, and that's kind of sort of how it's played. It's only a bit later on you do that. No, hang on, there's something affecting him.
Yeah,
and it sort of plays it sort of that way. Because I think is it real or isn't his mind card is like the purgatory twist. It's been done to death and done badly many times.
Yeah,
and it's kind of that's fire I don't want to play with. And I think they made a decision not to go down that route because it's very difficult to pull it off. Because when you reveal, I say, you know, oh yes, he is being possessed by an alien. People go, oh, that's fine, I can deal with that. But also you go, but he's not. People go, oh, what a Swiss, I wanted an alien.
Yeah,
I mean, you sort of can't win.
No, that's very true. You got to at some points, you know, deliver some kind of message. You can't just sit there and go, oh, I wonder if over and over again.
But the point is, in that scenario, or in a scenario like this, whatever you deliver, you will, it is kind of, heads you win, tails you lose sort of thing. You know what I mean? Kind of, whichever one you plump for, you probably honestly go, oh, is that it?
Yeah, that's very true. You have no real winner because there's always going to be some miserable sod going, oh, why? Oh, it's a spaceship. Oh, he's not possessed. He's just mad. Oh, okay.
There's always 4 people at the end of mics, isn't there, talking about these sort of things.
Any old bastard's trying to pick holes in the film rather than review it. Oh, Jesus. Arseholes, a lot of them. What about you, Dale? Just before we move on, but what about you? Did you feel like that mental illness side of things could be more explored, or were you happy with that?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I don't think it was just him having a psychotic episode or whatever, because the dad had it as well. So unless it's shared.
Well, that's what I was talking about with the dad initially. Is, you know, because they make a bit of a point of saying, you know, the dad, you know, dad's not well, sort of thing.
No, I think all the stuff actually happened. I don't think it was, the main characters shaping our reality as we're watching it. I think that was it. He was definitely a victim, and it goes then. The whole thing is passed on at the end to his sister, who is the one that survives. He drops into the sea, gets up. I mean, there's a good chance she's going to become exactly like he was.
Well, that's interesting. Do you think so?
I think so, yeah, because it's like they and it's. I love the little monologue at the end where they repeat her monologue to the girl about. Because I kind of figured it when it kind of, I think it was about half an hour before the film ended, and it's now kind of, you're realising that what she said bears relevance. It's like a shoe on the other foot type thing. It's now the scientists are now becoming the lab rats. And that's what this is. That's all it was. It's whether it matches what she said about, it doesn't matter if some of them die because what we're doing is all for the better for them. You know, we're helping them out by studying them. And so they let her go in here. And so I'm inclined to agree that, yeah, they were studying them. They are, and these dead animals, of course, are just, side effects from the fact that they get taken up by whatever energy beam or whatever they use. They get trapped in the actual, the wake of this thing, and they get pulled up with it and then dropped down. And this is why you've got them all over the land. It's not anything to do with them jumping out to sea. It's because they've been dropped from a great height
Right.
on them.
Okay.
So I think yeah, the beings themselves are either experimenting on us because they want to help, which would be another nice twist because you're led to believe that these things are evil. Well, what if they're not? And it's that whole thing again of us being so small that we're so fragile to them, you know, that we can easily break in their hands. Pretty much like the animals that the sister was handling, you know, and then putting back. And then the daughter's like, well, you know, some of them die. How can that be any good? And she gives that sort of the answer about, well, we're doing them good in return. So, you know, we must be doing a good thing.
Well, I mean, okay. I mean, yeah, since you brought it up there, can I just ask everyone how they felt about that monologue at the end, essentially telling the entire audience the plot?
I liked it. I just thought that was a nice little touch. I thought it was well placed. I didn't think it was patronising at all. It's just the whole thing of just emphasising that point. You know, and it does. I mean, some films can go over the top with that. This, though, I don't think it did. I thought it was, again, you know, just in case you missed it earlier, here's this.
Jim?
I liked it because it was that kind of... It's hearing that speech again in a different context. As Darren said, the shoe's on the other foot.
Yeah.
But also... afterwards, thinking about it, it's kind of, yeah, but it's more than that. This is how she's interpreting what we could loosely call a relationship she's going to have with these creatures. This is how she's going into it. This is how she's processing it.
Yeah.
Will it be different for her, or will she be going, cat, in 5 days' time, and having midnight drive she doesn't remember?
Do you know
I've
what?
got a good idea what it is. And because a certain amount of that speech was kind and noble and explaining science to a child, but it was also fucking bullshit.
Well.
Oh, yes, some of the fish we let go, we really love the fish. Fuck the fish. They're just sample numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We just put them in, we just put them back because you know what? We don't really need all of them. That's
Yep,
it. You know,
exactly.
There's no benevolent hand involved.
No, it's cold and clinical, and you know there's no real concern for the fish at all. You know what I mean? It's the cold hand of science, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
There is another aspect of this. Something I want to ask, see if anybody else gets it. Is this hereditary?
Hereditary.
Because it was the granddad, then it was the son. Okay, and by the end of it, it's his sister. Well, why isn't it taking? I know we had the guy who had the thing with the electronics, but the 3 people that it affects, you know, they're all part of the same family. Could it be like they do with you know, you see them in wildlife programs where they tag entire like families of foxes, or they'll tag like, you know, sort of broods or whatever of a specific kind of animal. You've seen those was it the meerkat programs where they focus on a family of meerkats. So, you know, if they're doing this whole thing of experimenting on to try and find whatever, whether it's for malevolent or benevolent purposes, it seems very similar to that.
It does, but they don't leave dead bodies of meerkats around the other meerkats. Because they killed the dad, and then you assume Harry didn't return.
Yeah. Somehow Harry returned.
Oh dear, we broke him.
Yeah.
Let's just put him down there.
Yeah, let's just we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that one. What did you think about that, Elton? Is it a hereditary thing?
I don't think so.
No?
I think it's just a place. I think it's just an event, a place, and whoever gets drawn into it, they get drawn into it. I like the idea of it going through the family because it's clearly gone. Maybe, did we find out how the mother died?
No, I don't believe we do. At least I don't remember that being mentioned.
I don't remember it, but it is a thing in the story, though, isn't it? So, I don't think it's purposely going through a family because it is a family. I think it's just there are people there. There is some sort of force that wants to experiment and do science, because that is why you get the speech at the very beginning with the Audrey saying about the fish, and that's why you get it overlaid later on, just as a reminder. By the way, I quite like it. Sometimes that can be done clumsily, but I thought this wasn't too bad, actually. I thought it worked quite well. The only problem is multiple viewings, you kind of hear the same speech again and again and again and again. It's going to wear very thin, isn't it? But no, I don't think it's the family per se. I think it's just that they are in a place and this is just happening.
Yeah, I mean, for my money, I would tend to agree with that. I think what it is more a case of, using just the way it kind of runs is like, dad stumbles across this thing by accident, just being a fisherman. Then son stumbles across it again by looking for dad and not accepting that dad died by random means, goes into the sea, gains their attention, because, obviously, scientifically you'd see a creature coming back to where the other one was taken. You'd be like, okay, right, let's have a look at that. Why is it doing that?
That shows empathy.
It shows empathy, shows interest. What's this one's relationship to that one, sort of thing? And so it's like, okay, fine. And then if you're following that logic and saying, oh yeah, it's going to go to the daughter, then my thought immediately leaps to the fact that it's going back to the daughter because she was on the boat when the brother got lifted off. It's just a case of just they're in the wrong place at the wrong time at the same time. Do you know what I mean? I mean, unless...
So do you think then the fact that his dad appears to him as a vision points at the grandchild and goes, "Go"? You don't think that's... do you think that's a coincidence? Or do you think that proves the point of it being hereditary?
Yeah, I do in one way. I think I know what you're saying, and I do kind of agree with it. But on the other hand, there is that bit where he nearly runs over that jogger.
He's unsuccessful.
He's unsuccessful, but it wasn't for the want of trying, is what I'm saying. He's like, if you sort of go, well, okay, so he failed on the was it the getting the daughter, but he just moved on to the next girl that he could find. You know what I mean?
I think he won over and purposely crashed with the jogger. I think he himself won over that battle.
Fought back. Yeah, that's fair. I can see that. I mean, that would make sense as well. He's fighting because the daughter, the daughter sort of manages to convince him to sit down and watch the film when he doesn't want to as well. When he just wants to go to bed and wants to hide away and keep away. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you see her go, "Look, just stay," and it's like, "Oh, all right then," sort of thing. And he's like, "Okay, well, and he's overcoming his own, self-preservation, I suppose." to do because she's asked him, because he loves her as a as a sort of niece.
Darren, do you think if someone else had been abducted, they would have seen the old man, Tom? Or do you think it is because it is a family thing?
I don't know. It is. I mean, this is the thing, right? If it's not just a family thing, then why aren't there more people having this happen to them? It's not like they're in the middle of a giant city or anything like this. This is one of the typical sort of out-of-the-way places where this sort of thing is supposedly happening. You know, choose the least populated area and take your targets from that. Because the bigger the population, the more likely it is somebody's bound to notice something's going on.
Yeah. So you definitely think it's kind of is benevolent in that respect. It's kind of science because obviously it's to stay out of the way, out of a major populated zone. It's a deliberate act from whatever's up there.
It could be, and it is very much like has already been pointed out. You know, by these things being so big and so vast, these beings, that they're not very careful with us. You know, we are just.
Well, you're assuming they're big and vast. I mean, we don't actually see them. I mean, it could be hundreds of them.
Well, it could be just a bunch of quacks in a bloody flying saucer. Who knows?
Well,
you know, that's it. You
exactly.
know, it's like Dr. Thingy from The Simpsons.
Dr. Nick.
Dr. Nick, yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Dr. Nick.
Oh, God, that's it now. I've got... fucking hell.
Space Dr. Nick.
Yeah, and they've got the equivalent of that guy from Scrubs who goes around telling them not to kill anyone.
Ted.
What's it? Ted. That's it, yes.
Ted.
Is it? Maybe it's a cosmic... It's Scrubs. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's a cosmic version of Scrubs.
Yeah, maybe.
They've got a JD up there and a Dr. Kelso and, you know...
Oh, God.
And the janitor.
This is taking something of a turn.
I'll
be honest with you.
A bit.
Anybody want to bring up anything else? Because I'm just kind of circling around the same old comments. But is there anything interesting you found interesting you want to discuss or talk about with this film?
I like the fact that it had a coastal setting, and it actually presented it as being modern, normal, rather than the usual kind of like crumbling fishermen's cottages that clearly look full of sea monsters and pirate ghosts.
Yeah.
An old rag.
Well, yeah, I like the fact it didn't have that sort of very cliched. Oh, it's a small degenerate fishing village that's haunted to buggery by monsters and worse. And all the locals are folks from round here aren't be round here.
Yeah.
And the fact there wasn't that element in the relationship between the brother and sister and the kind of, you buggered off to the big city and became a landlubbers kind of crap. Yeah. That was very refreshing.
Coming back here with your big city ideas and your electricity and your big fancy words.
Yeah. You get back on that big metal dragon and go back to the hell of glass and steel.
Yeah, a town so small, they're all just big one happy family. Literally.
Quite literally.
So it's not a fish person, it's just the fact that, you know, your sister is actually your aunt. And
yeah, it's just.
He's not a fish person, he's just a piano tuner.
Oh, my God. But it's not right under the... That was a fucking rabbit punch of a joke, that was.
Oh,
None of us were expecting that one.
No, that was right. That was proper good. Right, punching the cods, that was.
Yeah, flew under the radar and then bang.
Oh, anyway. Sorry, Jim, you're throwing me now. Yeah, I mean, the portrayal of the whole tiny town, I thought was really quite cool. I thought the you kind of got the general gist of the interpersonal relationships. Though I was wondering whether or not that thing was whether or not it was in his head when the guy just at the funeral just suddenly turned around and said, "Oh, you've got the big house now. Aren't you good? Aren't you clever?" You know, and it turned into a punch up. And I was
the bloke said, "No, I was talking about you." That's it. He was really the bloke was really fucking aggressive.
Yeah, I didn't quite get where that came from. It felt like sort of like the last vestiges of a sort of last minute sort of like plot and an edit. There was probably something further along because again, like we discussed with Candyman, this film's like 90 minutes to a button, and it's like wow, you know, either they had an ultra tight story to tell, or there was a lot of editing going on to get it down to 90 minutes.
Because we didn't hear anything more. Was that bloke called Steve? I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve.
Steve, and then he elbowed Ned in the nose. I'm sure his name was.
Yeah. That's it. And it was just kind of done and done, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was no lead up to it. I don't remember them being anywhere else in the story, either before or after.
No. That was the weird bit. It was just like, oh, okay. That came out of nowhere.
Yeah. What was the thing with the cigarette in his pocket? Like the policeman, once he pulled him out of the cell, it's like, oh, didn't you find any ashtray? I didn't get that.
Oh, it was before his blackout. And he he was just staring at the ground, and then he saw the cigarette. And the next thing you know, he's got the cigarette in his pocket.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't know whether that was kind of an implication that something was that them upstairs found, or it upstairs found the cigarette interesting, and he picked it up.
Oh.
I don't know what the deal was with the cigarette, but it was definitely before his blackout, and then he had a blackout, and then he woke up, and he got it in his pocket. I don't know. Well, does anyone else have a thought on that? Because I do know he blacked out, and then he went to the, and it was just after he'd been to the supermarket, where he did that complete crazy bit with all the food.
Mm-hmm.
He went a bit Dale Winton and did a supermarket sweep. Yeah.
He did. He's like, contestants ready, and off he went.
That's right.
No, I couldn't work out that. I think that'd be like another viewing. There were a couple of things I noticed which I really enjoyed through it. So you had a moment where the bird fell down and struck the windscreen.
Oh God, that made me jump.
Yeah, and they didn't want to kill it, and then it died. So maybe that is a representation of the alien. Let's say the aliens looking down upon the humans, and oh God, I don't want to kill it.
Yeah.
You stove its head in with a rock. No, you do it. Oh, it's dead now. Okay, don't worry about that. It could be an interpretation of that. What I did like as well with that, which ties into it, is that as soon as he got home, he washed down his windscreen. But that was the downfall of him later on, where the policeman, just being nosy, walked past the car and saw that it had been an accident. Maybe if he'd been Cobus Mentis, then he may have washed down his car, and then you wouldn't have had that evidence there.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so it's kind of like, yeah, 1 minute he's fastidious and taking note, and then 5 minutes, and then by the end of the film he's just like, no, I'm just going to leave the car all crumpled and fucked. And
he didn't even know, because he'd blacked out, hadn't he? He got home, but he had no recollection of it. Also, when we first see the dad having one of his episodes outside, sorry, I keep saying episodes, don't mean it like that, but he was going through some sort of probing
issue.
Yes, outside with the dog, and he stood on the porch. and he's calling Dad, and then all of a sudden he snaps out of it and turns around and he sees the son on the porch. There's a moment later where he's stood having one of his things and staring at the dog, and then he turns around, his dad's on the porch going, "Dog," in exactly the same place that he was in.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because when the dad first wakes up at the very beginning of the film, over the edge of the boat,
On the boat, yeah.
is actually a dog's lead.
Yes.
And so they've already had one dog. Dog's already been and gone.
Yeah. Well, that dog was the neighbour's dog, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It was Bouncer. Yep.
Bastards. Bouncer.
Didn't bounce when it landed.
No. Nice. Yes.
Call
No,
him
but
Cement then, because he landed like a wet bag of it. Yep.
Nice.
I thought it was really well done. I think they could have tweaked it a little bit to make it, I don't know, maybe a bit more interested in the middle. But I like that he wasn't really aware of his little episodes that he was having up until the very end. I like that it was just, it snaps out and doesn't quite know what's going on, but carries on with normal life.
Yeah. Jim, I wanted to ask you. I mean, because let's do the basics. I mean, you know, with the Lovecraftian stuff, yeah. Is there a story like this in Lovecraft lore? Do you know? Because I don't recall seeing anything like it, but I haven't read a lot, to be honest.
Well, the Colour from Outer Space is fairly close. There's this idea of there is something and it just absorbs things. How in the book is a very clear indication that it's not just a mindless thing, it's something beyond that, and it has its own intelligence. And I'm trying to think, there's a Whisper in Darkness, it has some similarities as well. Because that's about strange things in the woods that are influencing people, and you're not entirely sure what they are. Or even, but that goes quite deep into kind of this idea of are they actually harmful or are they benevolent? And Lovecraft pulls you one way or another. And at the end, it's very ambiguous still. As to, you know, kind of, are they good guys? Are they bad guys? Are they just fucking with us?
Yeah. What's the deal here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because actually, now I think about it, and you may spit at this, because this is one of those voices this is one of those names that I know that a lot of people in horror circles going to go, oh, fuck off. But I read a book ages ago called Winter's Moon. Yeah. By Dean R. Koontz. Waits for the fuck off, doesn't arrive.
No.
And that the whole thing in there is the fact that there's this kind of, in the middle of the forest, is this dimensional rift, which is just this, you know, just this big sort of. It's almost like Koontz had only just watched Event Horizon, and it's just so there's this big black orb in the middle of the forest, and essentially, this old man and his wife go out to look at this thing because they live in a cabin and nearby, and they go out there, and they can't work out what's going on. There's nothing there. And then one day they go back to see it, and they go back, and then there's a squirrel. And the squirrel is just looking at them, studying them, and it follows them home, looks through the window, and they're like, what the fuck's up with that squirrel? And then it just sort of bleeds out of his ears and nose and just collapses. And then what they do is next day they hear some noises as if it was, you know, that orb is off again. And next thing you know, it's a coyote, and it's doing the same thing. It's looking, but this time it looks for longer, and then it bleeds out of his nose and ears and just collapses and dies. And then it kind of moves up to crows and deer, and it keeps going. And it's basically whatever's on the other side of this orb is basically getting hold of more and more complex animals to study this guy and his wife. And one day there's like a full on moose sort of fucking at the door, sort of looking through the door like for nearly 3 hours. And it causes his wife to have a heart attack and she dies. And then the moose basically dies. And he then takes his wife, buries her in the sort of out the back of the cabin. And the next thing you know, there's a knock at the door the next day. And it's like, oh, it's his wife. Whatever's on the other side of that orb is now controlling his wife. Oh, that's a bit weird. And it's just that kind of... And at that point, my nan came in through the door to ask for a glass of water with no teeth, and I fucking shat myself. But that's a different thing altogether. And but the thing was, in that story, and it's kind of what this one reminded me of, was there's this kind of a study, a kind of working its way up nature. And I thought it's in Kuntz, and I know that Kuntz is kind of, when people mention him, they kind of like, oh, and he's ripped it off from here, and he's ripped it off from there, and all this kind of thing. And I just kind of wondered if that idea of malevolent or seemingly malevolent intellect fucking about with us lesser mortals through a doorway is kind of like, if there was more stories like that around, because I'm quite interested in it.
Well, maybe Greek mythology is your thing, because there's a lot of greater mystical beings playing around with humans in that.
I suppose. Yeah, I suppose. I was just trying to see whether or not there was any more to it. You know what I mean, than just. I don't know.
Well, on that same sort of subject,
yeah.
How would you feel about a film that was really well written? You know, you were really engrossed in it, and it's like, oh, what is the purpose of these mystical beings? Why do they want us? And you get right to them, and they find out that the only reason they did it was because they were bored. I would love to see a film like that where it's like it builds up. You think there's going to be some big mystical reason. It's like, no, we're eternal. We've got nothing else to do but fuck with you.
Yep,
that's it. It's the only entertainment we've got these days that's worth any shit, really.
Clytus, I'm bored.
It's a planet called Earth.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, one last thing before we wrap it up, because it has been going on for a while. Elton.
Yes.
Roast potato scale. Where are we? I keep forgetting to do it.
On this one, 0.
Really?
There was nothing to be scared about on this.
Now
nothing unnerving.
That surprises me, because that bloke standing there staring at the little girl.
No,
while the music's while the sound's going.
That creeped me the fuck out.
Me.
That did.
No,
I felt the heckles go up on the back of my neck.
Yeah.
Didn't. No, nothing.
No?
No, weirdly, because alien movies scare the crap out of me normally. But this one, Vast of Night, I got the proper heebie-jeebies from that.
Right.
But this, no, nothing.
Okay. Did anything disturb you, Jim? I mean, I guess that's probably a bit on the hide into nothing, given it's your sort of area, but...
not particularly some kind of very nice sort of creepy stuff. But it was just kind of... It was more that kind of frightening intrigue of that kind of like, whoa, what is going on?
Yeah. And I know we're in that kind of, in this universe now of everything has to have a sequel. But would you want to see more of this story continued, or are you happy quite to have it? You know, and this is to everyone, have it just stop here.
I think this is perfectly self-contained. I think
Yeah, I'd have to agree
you
with
run the risk of going any further with it. You lose. As you said, the intrigue and the mystery. I think this takes you as far as you sort of can go with it.
Without ending up having to explain something.
Yes, and sort of painting yourself into a corner. Because I think that stories like this work where the mystery has room to breathe. Once a sequel would just end up explaining things, and it would almost kind of ruin the first film. It would be, is that it?
Yes.
Because whatever you can come up with is not quite as interesting as that imaginative space where it's forever plastic in your brain.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, no, that's cool. That's cool. I just wanted to kind of, just wanted to see whether or not anyone wanted to take it further. I personally, I'm with you. I don't want to see a sequel. I mean, I've like I say, I've learnt my lesson with things like Prometheus. You don't want to know anymore. You still damage me. I know. And Geek Nirvana's over and done with. Fuck it. But anyway, I mean, has anyone got any last thoughts on this before we move on?
No, I think I'm done now.
Okay.
I think I'm done.
Okay, right. Well, we'll wrap it up there then. Cool. Okay. Well, that's that. That was Block Island Sound. A nice little mystery thriller with a nice dash of unknowable existential dread. So it's time for me to let you know what we're going to be doing next week. And before I do that, just remember that you can contact us, give us your thoughts on this by contacting us through email, Facebook, which is feedback@blackdogpodcast.com, or you can get on to Twitter, blackdogpodcast.com, just Black Dog Podcast, or you can go on to the Facebook group, which is at facebook.com/groups/The Black Dog Podcast. Just leave a message and we'll get right to it and we'll read it out next episode, which will be in a fortnight's time. But before we do that, let me tell you what we're going to do next week or next time. Now, next week obviously would have been Halloween when we recorded, or the day after Halloween. It would have been as close to 4 weeks of horror, which we usually profess to try and do, but we always fail to do. But unfortunately, we stick to tradition and we miss Halloween by a full week. So here we are, and we're coming back to finish off our 4, 5, 6, possibly 8 weeks of horror on the 8th of November with my film. Now, my film has only just appeared on Amazon Prime. I've heard a lot about this film. I'm not entirely sure what I'm letting myself in for, but I know that it's got some good write-ups, interesting reviews, and it spawned a sequel/almost prequel kind of sidequel story, which is in the cinema, or has only just left the cinema now. The film is X. Just that. X.
What, for no publicity?
Yep, X. X. It's X, starring Mia Goth, I think it is.
X.
Yeah, Mia Goth and Jenny Ortega. Directed by Ty West and written by Ty West as well. Like I say, I don't know what else to tell you apart from the fact that it sounds interesting. I haven't seen it. I'm guessing from your reaction, none of you have seen it.
No, I've seen it.
Oh, you've seen it?
Yes.
Oh.
I can go and tell you actually as well, there's going to be a third movie.
Interesting.
It's going to be actually a trilogy, not a trilogy, because it is kind of, I believe, the next one is Pearl.
That's right.
And that one has one of the characters and it's in a different time period, but there's going to be a third one, which will be a different time period again with one other of the characters.
Interesting. Okay then. Well, let me just ask you: are you looking forward to seeing it again?
Yes, I was very impressed with this.
Okay.
I thought this was a very, very interesting movie, and very well made as well.
Cool. This is good. This is a good thing. Cool. Okay. Darren, have you heard of this film before?
Never.
You have
Never.
no idea what you're getting yourself into.
Well, I've just read sort of like 2 lines of a thing that's not giving anything away.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's just the basic setup for it. So, throw caution to the wind and go for it.
Okay. Elton.
Never heard of it.
Don't know what you... Yeah.
Looking forward to it, though. It's another A24 movie.
Yep. Exactly.
We've done quite a few of them, haven't we?
We have done a lot of them, and they've always been, even if they've not been terribly scary, a lot of them can be at least very well made and interesting. So, I don't think we're gonna be wasting our time by watching it. Let's put it that way. So there you go. I haven't seen it. I've heard a lot about it, but I have not seen it. So yeah, very much looking forward to this one. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The next week's movie is, next week when we return, it will be X, which is on Amazon Prime. So if you've got Prime, you can see it for free. Right. So that's that. That is this week's episode. Thank you very much for listening. But before we go, let's find out. I'll move over to Pimp's Corner and find out what's happening over at Hypnagoria Land. Jim, what's happening with you, sir?
Well, so this week I've released another epic length episode in my history of Halloween. Mm-hmm. We've done 3 so far this month. The history of haunted attractions, and nigh on like 3 or 4 hours in 2 parts doing Halloween in the 80s. Mm-hmm. But just in time for its 30th birthday, episode coming this week, getting a chapter of its own, Halloween's 90s style with Ghostwatch.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Parky, go bye-bye.
With your heart, and you get a free Parker pen.
Exactly. Nice.
Oh, Ghostwatch. Oh.
Gosh, love it. I haven't seen it in such a long time, but I kind of don't know if I want to watch it anymore.
No, you do. I reviewed it last year.
Yeah.
On Shonky, and it's still good.
Yeah.
It's still so good.
Okay. Right, so that's all over at hypnagoria.com, yeah?
It is indeed.
Lovely and indeed jubbly. Right, and Elton, what about you, sir?
Well, you can find me screaming and stabbing and lying, undermining, slandering,
being libelous.
Being libelous.
There you go.
Thank you.
Got your back.
Just trying to take advantage of other people as I talk about politics in Shonky Lab. It didn't go as I envisioned it. I thought we were going to talk more about politics, but we did talk a lot about politics.
I think you were expecting us to talk about the methodology of politics and the things around politics, as opposed to the politics of the day as it was transpiring and we were spitting feathers at it.
Shit went down, didn't it, that day?
Yeah, it was a bit full on.
Yeah, but please go over to road2media.com and find that somewhere on there.
Brilliant. And what about you, Dow? I hear you've been on the podcast recently.
I certainly have. I was on The Great Derelict with Andy Palastides and Daria Sigma of the Ozploitation podcast, talking about Mad Max. All the films that are connected to Max himself.
You and your leather chaps.
Indeed.
Love.
Nothing but leather chaps.
Nice. All right, and there's nothing else for me. I mean, I was on the Rogue 2 podcast. I was on Shonky Lab. I was talking politics, and you may get exactly which direction I lean in terms of my politics by the end of it. I'm subtle. I try and hold it back. I'll be honest with you. I try and strike a balance. But yeah. But anyway, so you can find me over there, and and that's about it. So that's all. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
No problem.
And thank you all again for listening. And we will see you in a fortnight's time when we will be back to talk about X. So until then, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Till then, tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll want to settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.